This Week with Bob Mueller on News
This
2.
week,
we plan to implement choice lanes in multiple places across the state.
the governor calls them choice lanes, others toll roads. Whatever the name, you pay to use them.
We're experiencing more demand for roads and road improvements than we have time and money for.
Also part of the choice lane package is the widening of Interstate 24 at Clarksville.
As far as Tennessee doing something to limit guns, we're not going to do that.
Poll after poll shows a majority of Tennesseans favor red flag laws, common sense gun reform. Those numbers, though, have not moved Republican lawmakers. More in our This Week cover story.
A lower intensity and more surgical operations.
The president gets tougher with Israel as Palestinian deaths rise in Israel's war with Hamas. Hello again, and welcome to another edition of This Week. Last summer, a special session in the wake of the Covenant School shooting to improve public safety went nowhere. New polling shows Tennesseans want stricter gun laws. More in our This Week cover story. The war in Israel is killing too many Palestinian civilians. President Biden says that must change. But we begin with Governor Lee calls choice lanes and their possible future in Tennessee.
There are a few main priorities for the choice or toll lane corridors. In Middle Tennessee, there's between Nashville and Murfreesboro on I-24 and I-65 to the bottom of Williamson County. The others were in East Tennessee on 24 west of Chattanooga and on 40 west of Knoxville. There were none in West Tennessee.
There was not a corridor in or around Memphis that really met the criteria for a managed lane type solution. But we knew there were other areas that needed to be addressed.
One of those areas, the I-55 bridge from Memphis to Arkansas.
It is in serious need of repair, and it is also up for replacement. It's over 75 years old.
So how much will these toll lanes cost you? Well, the short answer is TDOT says it doesn't know yet.
We're still very early in the process, and so there's no estimate or there's no number as to what that can be.
Democratic leaders thrashed the plan, saying it lacks courage and vision. In a statement they wrote in part, there are two basic shortfalls in what the governor is proposing. One, the governor is proposing to spend $15 billion to address only 1/3 of our current needs, with no plan to generate that funding. Two, this strategy completely ignores regional mass transportation solutions, like commuter rail, that is more affordable for commuters and could be used for generations. In Nashville, Chris O'Brien.
The key elements of TDOT's 10-year plan are paid choice lanes and the widening of I-24 in Clarksville. News 2's Tori Gessner discovered one is being met with resistance while the other is being welcomed with open arms.
The plans for toll lanes in Tennessee are full speed ahead. But there are still a lot of unanswered questions, including how much they'll cost to use.
We're still very early in the process, and so there's no estimate or there's no number as to what that can be.
But for states like Texas, Georgia, and North Carolina, choice lanes are already in the rearview mirror. Some have had them for more than a decade. We looked into the prices there. Starting in Texas, what the state calls Texpress lanes can cost 15 to 90 cents per mile to use, depending on the traffic. In Georgia, drivers are charged a minimum of 10 cents per mile on toll roads. They also have to pay a 50-cent fee per trip during very low demand. Driving on a choice lane in North Carolina costs 14 to 40 cents per mile during rush hour. Back in Tennessee, some people say they won't pay a single penny.
Absolutely not, Kyle. I don't think you'd ought to have to pay to drive on no roads.
Drivers like him believe officials should widen the roads instead. TDOT has plans for that too, including widening I-24 in Clarksville, a project Mayor Joe Pitts says has been a long time coming after the growth has caused countless problems.
Congestion, volume of traffic, accidents, I mean, you name it, it happens. And it's like any other growing community. We're experiencing more demand for roads and road improvements than we have time and money for.
Pitt says this project and the widening of Trenton Road, also included in the 10-year plan, will not only help commuters, but Fort Campbell and beyond. TDOT says that is the main goal.
Transportation, it is really one of the few government services that most every Tennessean needs and depends upon every single day of their life.
TDOT also plans to spend hundreds of millions of dollars to expand and improve critical highways across the state. Mount Juliet is on the list. News 2's Kendall Eichman spoke with the Mount Juliet mayor, who says the plan will not only improve traffic concerns, the result of growth, but is actually a game changer.
In the ever-expanding city of Mount Juliet, traffic is starting to take a toll on some longtime residents.
I think some people have told me that they have been promised interchange for 30 years now.
For years, the city has discussed creating a new interstate exit off I-40 called the Central Pike Interchange.
So this is the area that the Central Pike Interchange is going to be. It's going to be roughly at I-40.
Today, TDOT officials announced it will fund the interchange along with 2 other projects in Wilson County. It's something the city has been pushing for after a meeting with the governor earlier this year.
We stepped up in every way that we could as a city, and, true to their word, they're ready to build.
Mount Juliet Mayor James Maness says the interchange will significantly improve congestion.
And we've had numbers in the past as high as 60% of that traffic outside of the Providence area can be alleviated by this Central Pike and the interchange there.
On top of that, he says this will create a large economic boost.
There's been some skepticism, and can we really get it done? I think these people are going to be really surprised to see that all the pieces are coming together.
And while an exact timeline is still in question, Mayor Maness says the city is grateful for receiving the green light.
3 huge projects to make a significant impact on the city going forward. It's going to be a game changer in every way.
Now to our This Week cover story. As the Tennessee General Assembly remains stagnant on gun reform, Tennessee's population is seemingly wanting change. State Capitol reporter Chris O'Brien brings us inside new polls as we head into the new year.
Last week, a Vanderbilt poll found broad support for changes to some firearm reform, like instituting a red flag law and a safe storage law. Those findings were consistent with another poll commissioned by the Tennessean and Siena College released this week. In that poll, 70% of respondents supported a red flag law, including 69% of Republicans. 73% supported a law requiring safe storage, again including 69% of Republicans.
We had a special election, special session, and we still did not make any type of reform at all. And the opportunity was there. The opportunity was great.
Republican leadership in Tennessee has promised that no changes are coming related to things like a red flag law.
As far as Tennessee doing something to limit guns, we're not going to do that.
But House Republican Caucus Chairman Jeremy Faison did leave the door open for some safe storage reform.
Don't leave a gun sitting on your car seat. These are how we get there. We're still having conversations about that. I think there's a conversation that Tennessee needs to have when you realize that over 10,000 guns have been stolen in Chattanooga, Memphis, and Nashville. We got to do something to make sure that you're not leaving your gun on your seat or on your dashboard or just right there.
But the Senate may not be as amenable to changes that include punishments for people who leave their firearms out in the open.
I think first we need to try to do encouragement, and if that doesn't work, then move to something else.
If the Senate doesn't also sign off on any changes, of course, they will not happen. In Nashville, Chris O'Brien.
Stay with us. This Week continues in a moment.